Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Rod in Mississippi. And today we have a door lock pump and throttle body. I'll get to in a minute once I test the pump, show you the operation, and then we'll go over the throttle body of yours. So first things first, the pump, this was like, oh my god, it was a disaster. There was everything wrong with it that can possibly go wrong with it, and I spent a lot of time and just finally decided to just put in another brand new motor, but used vanes that are good because you had scores. It's not pressurized and it's not vacuum, and it was a mess. And then obviously the motor was bad, the nipples are broken, and the pressure circuit was all screwed up, the activation. So anyway, so one thing at a time. This is your motor here. As you can see, it's very carboned. I don't know if I can actually make a video, well, just to show internals. You probably can't see it. Anyway, one of the brushes is completely screwed up, so because it was running very hard. The vacuum circuit is here. The pressure circuit was, I deactivated this completely because it was all messed up. Might as well just to shut it down. I left the vacuum because it isn't leaking, which is very nice, because as you can see, it's been sitting on a bench for quite a while and it's not leaking, which is very amazing because usually both of these are leaking. This one was leaking because it was not working, and this one is holding on pretty well, so we're leaving this as is. The antennas, this is your new port that I made, so you will be able to plug in your holes. Just make sure when you plug it in, you don't have like a little nipple that if it's stuck, this little portion, because it's broken off, sheared off, if this little portion is stuck still in the pipe, because that's how the pipe is going to look, well, similar to this, it's going to have clips to it on the outside, like going around. So obviously you want to look inside and make sure, these are my temporary pipes, they're not the same looking. You want to make sure that this little nipple piece is not stuck inside the pipe before you actually plug it onto the terminal. Okay, so that's how it just goes and clips over around it. So obviously that's what you want to make sure of. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to connect this pipe to my vacuum circuit. It's just easier to test with this thing connected like that. Alright, so let's just test this pump and then we'll go over to throttle body. So first thing is, obviously as you heard, the pump, it was activating because vacuum is leaking. Once it creates enough vacuum in the vacuum storage tank, it shuts off, so we're good here. Now it's connected here, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to do door locks. Okay, so let's do the door locks first. Now what we're gonna see here is, this is your vacuum and this is your pressure. So your pump was barely making like 150 pressure, which is, I mean, 1 point something bars, 1.5 bars, I'm sorry, and it was doing 0.4 bars on vacuum, which is good, but the pressure was low. So when pressure is low, even if you have a leak somewhere in door locks actuators, then it's not going to unlock. So even if you have a leak with the door locks now, this is so strong. This pump that I put in there, it is like an overkill. This is the most powerful one I've ever seen in them, because the pressure reaches past 5. I mean 0.5. So let me show you. As you can see, it reaches above 5 like 0.6 bar, which is a lot. That's great. Vacuum is the same way, 0.6. Very healthy. Well, it has to be, don't mind the gauge, because if the valve closes, the vacuum remains. Now, this gauge is not also super accurate, but ideal situation, I mean, I know it's upside down, but it's just easier for me to show. It doesn't matter which orientation. So it's supposed to be a 0.3 to 0.6, and we're like at the maximum. So when you had 0.2, that's below what has to be. So as you can see, door lock and unlock works fine. Next thing we're going to do are antennas. The ones, those parking aid antennas, they will extend when you put in reverse. Okay, so let's see. This one. As you can see, antennas extended once I let go. Like let's say I shut down reverse gear and I put in drive gear. When I let go, there is a timer in it that's going to actually create vacuum now to pull antennas back down into fenders. There is a delay. A delay is made that if you're just parking back and forward, they never just cycle. That's what delay is there for. So that's from factory. So this circuit works just fine. The next circuit is your trunk handle. So we do the trunk handle release. When I hold the power, then handle is extended, as you saw, pressure to push handle out. Once trunk lid is closed, it creates vacuum for handle to retract itself. So one more time. So I let go of the power. I just can't see here. See, that's the handle retraction and extension. And FKS circuit here. This is going to be headrest release. Now you might have it, you might not have it. It depends on the model. If it's S500, you have electric ones. If it's S420, S320, actually you do have S320, so yes, you do need this. What this does is it drops your rear headrest. So when you apply power, it creates vacuum and it holds vacuum. As you can see, now it went back. So this is working just fine. See, I put the power on it. There. So everything works just as intended. So I'm perfectly fine with the pump. I'm very happy with it. Finally, I was working on it for a while. Okay, so let's go over to the throttle body now real quick. Now let me put on the lights. So we have a little more lights here. So this is your throttle body. Now the wires were completely destroyed, so I had to redo the throttles. The throttle body itself, it is active. Everything is fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. So totally perfectly fine working unit now. Let's see what I can do for you. Let me do this. Actually, okay, whatever. I have two other throttle bodies that are working right now. They're making this ambient sound. So what we're gonna do is let me just change these values. I'm gonna try to read this module. Now the idea here is this throttle body is a non-SR unit. You can see it's making this humming sound. There's too many humming sounds. That's my problem here. So let me pause this for a second. Let me shut down the other two units, so there's only your unit that makes the noise. Okay, so now I'm back from pause, and what we have here is we do need to hear this throttle body activation. So I don't know if you can hear it. If you hear that little kind of like buzzing noise on it. So that is the working throttle actuator. That's how it works. Just trying to get my computer to show readings. What that means is that the throttle is active. Okay, so the clutch coil is working fine because it's been energized for a long time, and that's very important. So let's see the temperature real quick. As you can see, it peaks at 104 even. So see, it picks up. So for example, the cold unit right here, 65. So this one, goes up higher to over 100, which is even, you know, it's pretty good. So I definitely had it on, so you know that it's been on. Now the way it cleaned up, and cleaned up well, you can see it's pretty nice. The other side of it looks like this. Okay, so it's also pretty nice. And one problem that I have with it is it came with this linkage. The linkage was misaligned. I aligned it. Usually you don't want to mess with it, but one of the sides was loose, so I kind of put it in the location where I think is proper, but you might want to alter the lengths of these things. So you loosen up 2 nuts here, and then you move the center link, the center rod, and because one is left hand thread, the other one is right hand thread, they will compress or extend. So that's how you change the distance between these two. And obviously one end goes on the throttle body right here, the other one goes on the throttle linkage itself, and that's what you also want to do with the rest of the linkages. You can see I put some lubricant inside, some grease, because that's a good practice. So the linkage itself moves freely. Now what I want to show now, put the lights on, you're gonna see how throttle activates. So right now throttle is off, we hear nothing. And now you look at the plate, how it's going to activate. And now we have our buzzing noise. Okay, one more time. So that's basically what I can show you in terms of activation. One more thing that I'm gonna try to show you here is some values. It's not letting me. Let me see. Yeah, well, I guess. Okay, here we got them. Alright, great. So hopefully we'll get values on screen. I can only show very limited things here because the car is not in motion. Other computers are missing. It's just the throttle. I can see just the readings here. So when I move the throttle plate, as you can see, one of the readings change. The other reading is going to be stationary. That's going to change when you do cruise control or something, because that's the actual reading on the internals, on the gear driven potentiometer piece. But we can see the readings come up, so that's pretty good, and I don't really have a problem with it. So, you know, that's pretty good. So it's a long video, and I basically covered, I think, everything here in terms of the unit, the door lock pump, and the linkage, this little piece. The rest is to be done on the vehicle, so you have to remove the whole throttle linkage, lubricate it all nice, put in some grease into sockets here. I bent this back because this was bent. I bent it back as much as I could. There's still a little bit of deformation, but much nicer when from what it was, because this thing was just pushed in a lot. This is gonna do just fine. Do not move it more because you can break the welding around it. This is welds, so you don't want to break that because that's very finely aligned and calibrated before it was welded, so try not to do that. The linkage I'm going to leave just like that with a little zip tie, so you know that it's coming back to you, because usually I get these without the linkage. They just come in just like that, just, you know, just nothing on it. So anyway, so that's that, and basically we're going to wrap this up. This is how it looks, this is how it works. Throttle, pump, both are ready to go. Alright, sorry for the long video, but I wanted to cover two things at once, so therefore the length is long. Okay, so this is all for now. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.